When is a good time to recommend a BNP program for your patient or client? I'll use those words interchangeably. Well, there are so many different ways that and time periods. So I'm going to list them out, but I also want to describe them in a little bit greater detail. But before we get into that, I want us collectively to think about why would we be recommending a program. So a couple of key reasons for recommending a program is number one, you don't want to miss an opportunity when a patient is ready or thinks they're ready and comes to you as motivated to take an action. They will, if you don't have something for them in that moment, we know today that they will purchase or do or seek something out from someone else, and that's not going to be better. Number two, we don't want to leave a patient waiting when we're waiting for something that we need. And what I mean by that is if we are, again, taking advantage of their motivation, their readiness, their excitement, and then we're like, okay, well, in 4 weeks, when we get those results back, and over the course of those 4 weeks, their enthusiasm, their fear, their reminder of past failures, their introduction to what somebody else or what another friend did, all of that stuff will be coming up. So we want to make sure that we never leave our patients for a long period of time, because just it's the state of the world today where they're going to be marketed to, on other pieces, but by other companies, etc. The third one is that patient outcomes are, and especially lasting patient outcomes, really come from consistency of reassessment and re-engagement. And that can be really time consuming for your business. And there are ways that are just not so effective. Reaching out and saying, hey, just wondering how you're doing, or boy, it's spring now, time to be thinking about detoxing, and not tying it to that patient's previous experience or revisiting where they've had challenges or where they've had successes. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Another area and a way to recommend programs is if you've got too much on your to-do list, and you also have identified that there are certain things that are just not in your zone of genius, the things that you don't want to be doing. You might be zone of competent on them, but they're affecting your workload. It's affecting your profits because your time is worth money, and so you're having to spend a lot more time with patients. Then there are huge opportunities for someone else to be doing that work. And BNP offers you a someone else that you don't have to pay for until the patient pays you for it. And also that is overseen and trained by us and overseen and still in collaboration with your practice. So let's go back and let's dive into those specific opportunities. I kind of mentioned them in there, but I just wanted to recap some of those things to be thinking about there. So number one, if you have a wait list, or if you are really busy and you can't see someone immediately, maybe you just want to take a vacation, or maybe it's the first 2 weeks of school with the kids and you're just like, I don't want to take on a new client right now. Instead of saying that to someone or scheduling a date a couple of weeks out, what you can do is actually build into the package and build into what you talk to them about, hey, before we get started on doing some assessment or the work that we're going to do together, the first phase, I wanted to actually have you do this work. And you're going to be going through and learning about, maybe it's better nutrition basics or better plant-based, or maybe it's wearing a continuous glucose monitor. But you're going to be going through this. You're going to have access to a coach, somebody. So if you have any questions as you're going through, you have unlimited access through messaging. You also have coaching sessions, a session or multiple sessions, and you have access to a leading dietitian as well as some of the other experts, so that if you have questions or you want to go deeper into the content and also hear what others are experiencing in our live group sessions, you got all of that. So I'd like for you to be doing that so that I can build a better plan for you when we meet. It's going to really help us be more efficient with our timing. So when you talk to them about efficiency, when you build it into your overall pricing, then that's also going to be something that will likely be a no-brainer for them on that part. So that's one area of opportunity. The second one that kind of goes along with that and that I mentioned before is now if you've seen someone, or even before you're seeing them, if you're going to recommend, hey, before we have our first session, or after our first conversation, I want to have you do a genomics test, or I want to have you do a Dutch test, or I want to have you do a stool test, or I need stool test micronutrient, like I want 15 tests, whatever it is on that part. And you're in the information gathering stage. While you're in the information gathering stage, you want to take advantage of your patient who has newly come to you wanting to actually get some help right now. And there's no such thing as needing to wait until you get results back to start helping someone. We might not want to start down the path of having them remove things or add things or whatever, but we can definitely work on helping to identify what behaviors, what choices are better, where they might need better choices, where there's confusion, and also with the coach and on our end, in terms of what we provide for you, we're going to give you insights into how this person functions better, where their choices, what are tough choices for them, what are things that, are they good with implementing new things, are they overwhelmed, and actually you're not going to have a lot of success implementing something new, so let's actually have a conversation about that, once you're meeting with them. So you're going to get a lot of great data from the program as well to complement the other data that you're getting. So that piece can be really helpful. It can also help you, depending on the program, help them see why it is you're going to be recommending supplements. Hey, remember in that magnesium program, like you're just not getting in 4 servings of magnesium on a daily basis. So for right now, let's give you some foundational support from a supplement standpoint. They're going to understand your recommendations better, which leads them to better compliance and less of an issue from a cost standpoint in terms of thinking about maybe I'll just skip that, et cetera, on that part. So a third area is this idea of reassessment. So one of the things that I see too frequently is that practitioners do a great job bringing somebody on board, doing tests, getting recommendations, bringing them through, maybe even bringing them through a 3-month program, but then that patient's gone. Maybe in a great way, they're like, I feel great. Does not matter. If they feel great, whatever they experience during that 3 months, we need to be able to replicate it for another 3 months, for another 3 months, for another 3 months. And so one of the reasons that that programs and subsequent coaching can be really helpful is as a check-in point to reassess. So if a foundational part of what we did for somebody was help them with their rainbow or help them with plant-based or help them optimize their omega-3 intake, well, when they go from summer eating to winter eating, we want to check in and say, hey, how are we doing on those omega-3s? And then if we need to redo that program or we need some help from a coach to help you figure out how to optimize that again in this season or in this season of life, maybe you were doing great and addressed that as it relates to maybe the too hot to handle and addressed it, when you had an inflammatory situation, your SED rate, your CRP, and maybe we normalize that SED rate or CRP. But maybe now something has happened in life. Maybe I either got sick or I need to be on hormones or, something else has gone on. And now we want to come back and be able to customize and develop a personalized plan, revisiting that. So the idea of being able to add a program again or revisit the program content with a coach so that we maintain a journey with a client rather than having them just work with us on an individual basis for a short time period. It's going to be better for the client, for their overall outcomes, because health is a journey, so you stay on that journey with them, better for your business, because if either of you invested in a couple of months together, it's not better for them to go off somewhere else and spend money or try to figure out how to do it again elsewhere. And it's also just not going to be better for you to wait and have them come back to you when things are all messy again and they're not feeling well. And they might not come back to you. They might choose to go somewhere else. So that's going to be another great opportunity in that part. And then there are those that, that you haven't seen for a while, and, maybe it's been a year or it's been 2 years. Well, bringing them back in, you can actually have them go through a program before you start working together based off of what this new information so that you can, again, gather better data. And that leads us back to, one of the ones that we talked about in the beginning. Some other great ways are if you're going on maternity leave, if you want to take vacation, if you have a time period where you don't want to see new clients for a month or for 2 months, if you have to take care of a sibling or a parent or anything within that time period, but you want your clients to have the best in terms of personalized nutrition and lifestyle support, that's going to be a great opportunity for you to recommend a program and additional coaching as well. So hopefully this gave you some fuel for thinking about how to make recommendations for the different programs. If you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to us, programs@thebetternutritionprogram.com, and we are happy to answer that. And also, we do have our starter kit of materials, so if you have not already accessed that or have not gone through that, or if you would like to have a private session where you go through that as it relates to your business, then please head over to the website and sign up for a demo so that you have that information as well. All right, take care.